Hey y'all, welcome to the end of 2022 review. We'll be looking back at 2022 and looking forward at what 2023 has to offer. It'll be a short one, so stick around for today's short trip down memory card lane. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I hope these words find you well. Hello and welcome to the 122nd episode of our Video Game Nostalgia Podcast, our video game history podcast. We pick what we want from week to week. The name of the podcast is A Trip Down Memory Card Lane. Normally, we'll tell you a story relevant to the current week in gaming history. These stories can be about your favorite video games, consoles, the people who made them, or the technologies that went into everything. We tell you these stories to teach you something new about the topic, what it took from the world as its inspiration, or what it gave back to the world as its legacy. But this is not a normal week. No, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last week of 2022, and for the last episode of every year, we do a short look back at the previous year and a quick look forward at the next year. This will not be a full episode. We always figure that everyone can use the week between Christmas and New Year's as time to do all that end of the year stuff and spend time with the family. So this here will be a quick one in that vein. I'm David Casson, and as always, I'm joined by my co host, whose New Year's resolution is simply to play more video games. He's my brother, Rob Casson. Rob, how many video games are we looking to conquer next year?
Well, Dave, I would just like to expand my horizon from 6 to maybe 10 or 12. I just having more than just the same games that you never quite seem to
We
beat.
do play the same things over and over and over. But,
Indeed,
but,
we do.
but, 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 that makes for a pretty, not expensive movie. Hobby, rather. I mean, we don't spend a ton of money on our hobby as a result.
I beg to differ because the money gets spent and the game's just not played.
Oh, that is so true. Are there any games? I mean, we'll jump right into it. Are there any games that you got or bought this year that you haven't played that you regret not playing or like want to play or anything in that vein?
I mean, off the top of my head, no. Most of the games that I bought this year were played, even though maybe not entirely finished. I enjoyed the hell out of playing them when I was playing them, so I can't think of any that I regret. Or, I mean, I should probably get back to finishing Elden Ring is a good one because I still haven't finished through my own campaign. I obviously have seen others finish it while playing with others, but haven't done it myself. Most other games that I've been doing don't have a lot of story to them, so
We never got back to Valheim.
back to, I don't think I even started.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I asked that question, actually.
Yeah, you should probably get back on that one,
I
Dave.
mean, I've played it, but you haven't.
True. I have not.
So there you go. There's one. I
What about you? Hmm?
have I bought anything that I haven't played this year? No, not that I believe. I don't think so at all. I bought Starbound. I haven't started it. That might be one. I played a little bit of V Rising, but I never really got into it. A common criticism of that game is there's not a lot of end game content, so I figured I would wait for it. But otherwise, no. I'm looking right at all of my activity for the year, and I gotta say there's just not a whole, I mean, not a lot on Steam. I'm sure if we looked at other platforms too, there would be a whole lot, but there's just not a lot on Steam. Yeah, not a lot on Steam.
Well, probably just means that they're all sitting in your humble bundle waiting to be redeemed.
Probably, or on Game Pass, or on so on and so forth. Okay, so let's jump right into that because you hit on the head. What was your favorite game this year?
That I played or that we talked about?
Yeah, that you played. Yeah, let's stick to the playing. What was your favorite game that you played this year?
Well, I mean, that's a really tough question when you get down to the root of it, because it really depends on what type of game you're looking for in the moment. If you're looking for a good competitive game, I would have to say still just standard Rocket League. You know, it's still my favorite. It's year after year. That game just a lot of fun, even though it irks the hell out of me. As far
True.
as story based, I obviously didn't finish Elden Ring. I enjoyed the story in that from what I saw pretty good, but for games that I actually managed to complete, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic had a damn good story.
Right.
So happy to have finished that one. If you're just looking for like kick back, relax, not a lot to do kind of games, and I mean, you got the natural with something like Satisfactory.
Yeah, that was fun. We did Satisfactory. We did a lot of Oxygen Not Included.
That too. Yeah.
I bought that back in August, so that was a middle of the year game for us. Yeah,
Yep, another great one. That one definitely required a lot more learning than Satisfactory, though. It's a lot more of figuring things out of in-game mechanics rather than just doing math and seeing what works. So
that one was
definitely
a
had to be a little
lot of
more
fun.
involved to get into that one. Still a super fun game though. But yeah, like I said, it just really depended on the category. But I mean, I don't have one single game overall because all of my games had a lot of hours this year. How about yourself though? Is there any one, or is it kind of the same?
No, I really enjoyed Elden Ring. I think if I had to pick one, Elden Ring was my favorite game of the year, which is weird because I'm not a Souls game, but I mean, everyone says it's probably the most accessible Souls like title. So I guess that was a good win for me. Yeah, but that was it. That was mine.
Well, that's
Um,
nice and easy for you. Jeez.
I know, right? I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, I played a lot of good games this year. Persona 5 Royal, it was a good game, and Dusk Falls was a good game. We played Turtle Shredder's Revenge. That was a lot of fun.
Ah, yes, that definitely was a lot of fun. Little short, but obviously it's an arcade style game, so it's going to be. But still a lot of fun during the time we played.
But we always go back to the same games. We played through Diablo 2 this year. We started Diablo 3 this year. I love Diablo. We always have the Rocket League. Rocket League is a throwback. I've probably at my most consistent high rank that I've ever been in Rocket League, which is surprising because I don't feel like I played as much as I used to, but I've just settled into a groove, I think. No, it was a good year, but all in all, I definitely think that Elden Ring was my favorite game. Are there any games coming up that you're looking forward to that you know of?
Well, I don't pay attention to a lot of what's coming out, although there is one that I do keep saying ad after ad for, and something I'm excited for, and that would be the new Jedi Survivor game.
Oh, that's very true. That's a good one. I would have put Arc 2 on your list too.
I had already forgotten about that, but after playing through Arc and not having played a lot of the story mode and mostly just playing it for the building and the dinosaurs and stuff, I don't know what new content they can add with the second one to make it different. If it's all story based to change, then I mean it's going to be kind of difficult for me because it's not something that I had figured out or started learning about and taking the time to do. When I was playing, it was just all about the building and the raising. It wasn't about completing the bosses and the story mission and all of that and learning about the story. So, what can two really hold?
All right, I'm going to flip the coin on that question.
Okay.
Were there any games that you picked up that you were disappointed by, or you just put down, you're like, I have zero interest in moving forward with this game?
Um, I really can't think of any game that I just didn't care for or didn't want to get into, and just flat out stopped. That was a more modern game. Obviously, some of the games that I tried playing for this podcast were less than easy to get through, but I chalk that up to being old games that are hard to get into when you're used to playing new games. So, as far as games that came out recently, I of all the ones I played, I enjoyed them pretty thoroughly, and I yeah, I don't think I have any games for that, but I also forget a lot of games if they're not ones that I play often. So who knows? Maybe there's some that I just dislike so strongly that I completely forgot about them.
Hmm.
But Dave, you never answered your question yourself for the last one or this one now. So I mean, what games are you looking forward to, and what games did you not care for so much this year?
I don't know if there's anything in particular that I'm looking forward to for next year. There's a With the state of the gaming industry, you never know. You never know what's actually going to come out, what's not going to come out, and I don't like getting terribly excited. I don't really like getting terribly excited. There is hopefully we get a good Dead Space remake. Hogwarts Legacy looks like it could be fun if you're a Harry Potter fan. I am looking forward to Jedi Survivor. I'm definitely looking forward to Jedi Survivor. I Diablo. We're playing Diablo 3. Diablo 4 comes out in the middle of the year. I think that
Ah,
would
see, I forgot about that one
You
too.
forgot about
That's
that
another
one
one that I'm
too.
excited about.
I would like to see what's next in the Assassin's Creed franchise. If Mirage does magically come out this year, that would be very nice. And I really don't know if there's anything else in particular, just a few off the top of my head, because the rest of them you never know. And I doubt we'll see it, but if by chance a Breath of a Wild sequel comes out, that'd be fantastic. But I don't know if that's going to happen this year.
Well, that's it for games you're looking forward to. But what about games that you didn't care so much for this year?
There really weren't a lot of them. It wasn't so much didn't care for, but I still vote that Scorn is one of the weirdest games I've played in a long time. It was just the art style was very unique. What was it called? Biopunk, where everything is like made of flesh and bone. It was just a weird ass game. So I still put Scorn on a list. But as for a game that I like picked up and didn't want to play again, there really wasn't anything like that I just got so frustrated or done with or anything like that I can think of. Yeah. So let's continue the 2022 year in review, shall we? And take a look back at some of our topics for the previous year. Rob, were there any topics that you genuinely enjoyed looking back at this year that you can like off the top of your head?
Well, Dave, I do have to say that it's pretty easy to kick off this one with 2022, being that the first episode that we did of the year
We did
is a game.
RuneScape. Yeah.
Exactly, a game very near and dear to my heart. I've been playing RuneScape since shit, damn near 2001.
Yep.
I mean, at least since 2005, I've been playing this game. That's 17 years, and I mean, hell, most of the time we're recording, such as right this moment, I play RuneScape. Um, so it was really cool getting to learn about the development of that and hearing how Jagex got its foundings and things. And it's one of those games that has stuck around with me for all of my life. And how many people can say that they play the same game 15 years later? We're pretty much every day, even if once a week. I mean, it's pretty astounding.
Yeah,
So
very true.
that definitely jumps out at number one for me. But obviously, some other noticeable mentions that we love the Assassin's Creed. We love that game series a lot. Terraria was a great one. It's definitely my play style, the building things, and then getting to have you carry me through that. And one of the few games that you actually managed to be better than me at.
Mm-hmm.
Shocker, I know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, the Turtles in Time, obviously kicking back to the roots of when I first started gaming. Um, Gaming with you, nonetheless. That was definitely a great one. The Stanley Parable, I think, was a hilarious episode just because I had recently started watching a YouTube channel from the brother of the creator of that and had actually seen an episode where the brother Doug played the game with the creator there. And it was kind of cool to see something that was something that I was really into, based that had so much relation to something that you had, solely because brothers, and it's just kind of cool to know, hey, gaming is universal and within these families too. Like it's just pretty cool. So definitely a lot of very notable mentions. I mean, can't forget Grand Theft Auto, giant series that it is. It's definitely, I mean, I can probably name 20 more. Just all in all, a great year. A lot of games that I know a lot about and have a lot of place in my heart. So, yeah, a lot of rambling, but that's the short answer from Rob. So, how about yourself, Dave?
That's the short answer from Rob.
That's the short answer from Rob. Yes.
I there were a lot of really enjoyable episodes this year. In all honesty, I enjoy most episodes, and I say most because every episode is a chance for me to tell a story. And some weeks that's incredibly easy, and other weeks that's incredibly difficult. There are sometimes where you can go online and you have a giant Wikipedia and they link to 10,000 more interviews with the people, and you can start digging down the rabbit hole, and it's so easy to find stuff to do it. And other times you look up a game and there's like two sentences and you're like, what in the hell am I going to do with this? So but we managed to get them all. I We got to do some of my games, like really poignant games from my childhood, like Seventh Guest, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Those are really ones I loved when I was a kid. Dragon's Lair was a lot of fun. Loved that when I was a kid. And so those were a lot of fun. We also got to learn about pretty much the origins of the role playing genre between Ultima, Wizardry, and what did we do? Final Fantasy. The only thing that we really haven't done, and that's going to be next year, is Dragon Quest when we're looking at early RPGs. But we also looked at the like early real time strategies because we did what did we do? Dune 2 and Command and Conquer, which were some of the early parts to that genre. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
So there was just a lot of fun stuff. I always like the weird stuff, to be honest with you, the stuff that people haven't heard of. So like when we got to do the Satellaview, which was the Super Nintendo like satellite add-on that was Japan only, that was cool. The Genesis Nomad was fun, but I really liked the little version that they had on Japanese airplanes that preceded it, and I can't think of its name right now. So the weird stuff is a lot of fun. So yeah, I think 2022 was a good year. We had a lot of good topics. We had a lot of important topics, and I'm excited to piggyback that into 2023. That's for sure. Definitely excited to piggyback that into 2023. We have some exciting things planned for 2023.
Oh yeah.
We do.
Ooh, like what, Dave?
You should know some of them. You did give me topics.
I forgot because you were like, "Oh, I already have something that week. I already have something that week," and I just forget the ones that I mentioned that you're like, "Yeah, let's do those." So you know what? It's gonna be a surprise for me and the fans. So why don't you list some of them off for next year, Dave, and give
Okay,
our listeners a look into 2023 with a trip down memory card lane.
good plug by the way. Good plug. But look, a lot of games come out in November. A lot of games come out in November. So we keep wanting to do things, and like we have 10 things to choose from in the second week of November and 20 things to choose from in the third week of November, and we can't plug them all into the same place. So yes, that's pretty hard. But we did manage to fill most of 2023 in. And so the thing with 2023, well, let's go back to 2022. So if you'll notice through 2022, I have been purposely transitioning our intros. We went into 2022, and the whole intro was each week we look at a game relevant to the current week in gaming history and we talk about it. And as the year went on, I've been pulling away from that, and now it's we're going to tell you a story about a topic relevant to this week in gaming history. It can be a game, it can be a console, it can be a person, it can be a technology. Now that transition has been purposeful because I want the flexibility going into 2023 to be able to tell stories about things that aren't necessarily games or aren't necessarily one game, like topical episodes. Now we kind of did that a little bit in 2022. We had an episode, for instance, on musical games of the 80s and 90s. It was like the second or third episode of 2022 because there wasn't really enough on one episode or one of those games to talk about it. So we kind of lumped them all into another. We did something with unlicensed video games when we did the Wisdom Tree episode 2. So we kind of had a little bit of that, and I've been angling to expand our horizons to do more of that. So we have the game throwbacks for next year. We're gonna look back at Resident Evil 2. We're gonna look back at Lemmings, Rob, because we've talked about Lemmings a few times and you have no reference to it.
Only that they follow each other off the side of a cliff.
Only that they follow each other. We're gonna look at Star Fox. We've brought that up a bunch of times. We are on an anniversary year for StarCraft, so we'll talk about StarCraft. We will get back to Dragon Quest. I have plans to talk about the first console that Nintendo ever made and the first console that Sega made and the first console that Sony made. So we're going to go back and look at the very first consoles of all of these. We're going to talk about Deus Ex. We'll talk about Populous. We're finally going to get back to Myst, Bioshock, Portal, Tomb Raider, Twisted Metal, Rob. We got Twisted Metal in the mix.
Hell yeah. I like to hear that.
We'll finally get back to Halo. We've never done a Halo episode, only a canceled Halo games episode. We'll get back to Mass Effect. But as I talked about, there are some episodes that are going to be more topical. So I have scheduled an episode where we're going to talk about educational Mario games because there's a whole handful of them. We're going to do an episode on video games that feature Arthurian legend, like the Sword and the Stone, King Arthur. And we're going to do an episode on video games that look at Frankenstein's monster. I was on kind of a literary kick inspired by Dune, and I thought it'd be fun to do more episodes based on books that are now video games. We're going to take a look at the National Video Game Hall of Fame and its physical location called the Strong National Museum of Play. We'll talk about how the museum came to be and what that's all about. And yeah, God of War is on the list. There's just a whole bunch of good stuff for next year, to be honest with you.
You know, Dave, there is one that I've been listening for that I haven't quite heard you say, and I'm kind of surprised
What's that?
because we had to cancel a freaking episode over it
KOTOR?
because you wanted to play it.
I never got around to playing KOTOR.
No, you have not.
And you did, though. You finally got around to it.
I sure did, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
But I didn't. So I gotta find somewhere to plug that on the list. I haven't filled in the whole year yet. I don't know if that will plug into an open week, but I haven't filled in the whole year yet. So
Hmm.
hmm.
But definitely sounds like we have quite a litany of good games coming up.
We do. Also, we'll have more visitors. I made a commitment to myself that we will invite more people back to the podcast. I have decided and convinced people to join us even when they don't know the topic. That has been kind of a thing for us, is we've kind of only brought people when they're like experts on the video game. But let's be honest, we're not experts on the video games. So occasionally we'll have some of our friends just drop by to learn about games just like us. So I think that'll be an exciting change for next year. And yeah, who knows? I got some other ideas, but that's just what I have on paper at the moment.
Well, Dave, definitely sounds like a good year coming up in 2023 and a lot for our listeners to look forward to, as well as us.
Very true. Well, if you want to, when I finally get a chance to do it, which will be hopefully over the next by the end of the weekend, you want to see when some of these episodes are coming up, I'm going to be building our calendar out for next year and putting it on our website at www.memorycardlane.com. Also, if you want to go back to any of the episodes in 2022 and take a look back at, listen to any of those old episodes, of course, you can get them anywhere you listen to your podcasts, like Apple Podcasts or Podchaser or Spotify. Amazon Music has podcasts now. We're on there. So pretty much if you listen to podcasts somewhere, you can listen to us, but you can also get them on our website, www.memorycardlane.com. If you are listening to our podcasts on any of those Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and like that, take a few moments and rate us, guys. We've been around for a while. We could use some ratings, some word of mouth. It's always nice to get feedback too. We definitely appreciate it. And speaking of feedback, if you'd like to come and talk to us directly, our website also features a link to our Discord where you can come and join us and have conversations with us and make fun of us. I also take suggestions. You can influence the future of this podcast. I'm not the end all be all. Come and tell me what's up.
Indeed, he is,
But I'm open to criticism. Yeah, 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 yeah. So
but also old. Ah,
also
ah,
old.
ah.
So anyway, I mean, yeah, come visit us. Come check out our old episodes. Come look at the calendar of new episodes. There's a whole bunch of things on our website at www.memorycardlane.com. You can also find links to our social media. I am on various platforms as David is wrong. And Rob, where can the people find you these days?
I am on twitch.tv/FATBOIRIPZ.
Awesome. Well, I said we keep it short, and we're probably coming up to the, I don't know, almost 30-minute mark. So that's short for me. So we'll call it. But before we wrap up this episode and take a look at the first week of 2023, Rob, is there anything you would like to say to the people before that we close the year out?
Well, Dave, I do want to take a quick moment to say thank you, as always, to each and every one of our listeners. It's been a hell of a year. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of left and rights, a lot of loop de loops, flips upside down, forward, backwards, bright lights, dark lights, a lot of craziness in the world. But hopefully, your hour a day or a week listen to some really old video games and two dudes who know a little bit about them talk hopefully brings some shred of joy to your life, because I know it brings some to mine, and I just hope to share that with the world. So thank you to everyone for listening.
Yep, what he said. No, close out the year 2022. First of all, I know I don't say it enough, but thank you. I genuinely enjoy getting to sit down and research these topics and turn them into an hour long story that I get to tell you all every single week. That is a lot of fun for me to do. And it's a lot of fun to revisit a lot of games from my childhood and learn about them. I mean, we're fans of all these games, but honestly, we have no idea where the ideas came from, or we may know who made them, but we really don't know where they came from or where they got the idea or you just all this getting to learn about all these video games is a ton of fun, and I wouldn't really be able to do it if you all weren't listening. So that's a heartfelt thank you from me. My one thing is come be a part of it. I'm always open to the community, always open to people joining us. If you're a listener, come to our Discord. Like I said, we're going to be inviting more friends to stop by. If you're one of those friends that wants to stop by, reach out to us. You know, we're gonna broaden our horizons for 2023 and have a lot more fun. Not a lot more fun, but we'll continue to have fun doing this. I already have a lot of fun doing this. So thank you. Tell your friends, rate us, listen to more episodes, and keep listening. That's my thing. And Rob, unless you have anything else, I'm gonna look forward to next week. You good?
Yeah, Dave, I am good. Take her away and let's find out what we have in store for the first week of 2023.
Well, next week we're going to tell you the story of Wasteland, an open world role playing game developed by Interplay Entertainment in 1988. As part of its story, we'll teach you all about a more affordable alternative to Dungeons and Dragons and learn about its relevance to this game. We'll look at the team that created it and talk about some of the games that Wasteland has inspired. So stick around and join us as we return to the tabletops on yet another trip down memory card lane. To think.
Dup, 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 a happy new year.
Nice. Very nice.